Today, we're going to unlock two really powerful toolkits for your mind. Now, they were designed centuries ago, but you're about to see just how perfectly suited they are for the chaos of our modern lives.
So let me ask you this. Do you ever feel like you're just drowning in noise? You know, that constant flood of notifications, headlines, and demands on your attention? It feels chaotic, right? Relentless. And honestly, it can be completely overwhelming.
But here's a thought that might actually be kind of comforting. This feeling, it isn't a new problem, not at all. For literally thousands of years, people have been grappling with uncertainty, with anxiety, and with that same struggle to find just a little bit of clarity in a really complex world.
And in response, they didn't just sit around writing abstract theories. No, they forged practical toolkits, actual mental frameworks designed to bring order not just to our inner world, but also to that chaotic world of information right outside our heads.
Okay, so let's dive into the first toolkit. This one is all about your internal world. It's called Stoicism, and you can think of it as an incredibly resilient operating system for the human mind.
So, Stoicism was founded by a guy named Zeno who used to teach from a public porch, or a stoa, which is, you guessed it, where the philosophy gets its name. And what he proposed was this radical art of living, that true happiness isn't found in chasing pleasure, but in wisdom and in virtue. This quote right here, this is the absolute heart of the Stoic toolkit. The world is going to do what it does. Events just happen. The only thing we truly control is our judgment about those events. And according to the Stoics, that is where all of our power lies.
And look, this isn't just some nice, fluffy idea, it's been battle-tested. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius used these exact same principles to lead his people through the devastating Antonine Plague. I mean, this philosophy has proven its worth through the absolute worst chapters of human history.
So how has this ancient toolkit been brought into the modern world? Well, its core principles actually form the very foundation of one of today's most effective therapies, cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. You know, the framework for both is remarkably similar. It's pretty straightforward. First, you use logic. You question your negative thoughts, and you separate them from what's actually real. Second, you practice acceptance for the things you just cannot change. And third, you focus all your energy only on what you can control, your own responses. But there is a really crucial difference in their scope. Stoicism, while it's a whole philosophy, it's an art of living meant to guide your entire life. CBT, on the other hand, is a targeted therapy. It's a specific tool used to treat conditions like anxiety. So think of one as a lifelong practice and the other as a very specific treatment. Okay, so we've got a toolkit for our inner world. Awesome. But what about the outer world? What about that constant stream of information, misinformation, and what some people are calling a post-truth world, where feelings can seem to matter more than facts? Well, that requires a different, but just as important, toolkit. Because let's be honest, calming your own anxieties is one thing. That's half the battle. But how do you navigate a world where it feels harder than ever to even tell what's true? How do you form responsible beliefs without falling for all the falsehoods out there? The answer, it seems, lies in walking a very, very fine line, a kind of thinker's tightrope, stretched between two virtues that are both powerful and a little dangerous: skepticism and open-mindedness. Too much of either one, and you fall right off. The ancient philosopher Aristotle actually gave us a great way to think about this. He argued that virtue is usually the mean, that is, the middle ground between two extremes. So in this case, if you have too little skepticism, you become gullible, believing everything. But if you have way too much, you fall into denialism, rejecting even well-established facts. The true virtue, that sweet spot right in the middle, that's critical thinking. So on one side of this whole debate, you have thinkers like William Clifford. And his argument is a deeply ethical one. He's saying that believing things without good evidence isn't just a mistake, it's a moral failure. It makes us intellectually lazy, and it makes us vulnerable. For him, skepticism is our duty. But then you get the counter-argument from William James. He basically says, hold on a second. If your skepticism is so rigid that it completely closes you off from certain possibilities before you even look into them, well, isn't that just another form of being closed-minded? Sometimes a leap of faith, or at least acting on a belief that isn't fully proven, is necessary. So here we are with two incredible toolkits, one for managing our inner world and one for navigating the world of ideas. But here's the thing, they're not separate. They actually come together to serve a single,
unified purpose. Here's how it all fits together beautifully. Toolkit 1, which is based on Stoicism, builds our internal resilience. It lets you manage your emotions and find a sense of peace. Toolkit 2, critical thinking, builds our intellectual integrity, helping us navigate that messy world of information responsibly. And what's the goal of both? Well, together they aim for that same ancient goal, a life of wisdom, tranquility, and just a life well lived. You see, these aren't just historical curiosities. They are active, practical tools just waiting for you to use them. They've been tested by emperors, by philosophers, and by regular, everyday people for more than 2,000 years. So really, the question isn't whether they work. The question is, how will you use